What do you
I
mean?
gave you the key when the door wasn't open.
When you nod your head yes, but you wanna see no. What do you
I
mean?
gave you faith and you doubt in a hope.
When you don't want me to move, but you tell me to go.
Now I'm all alone and my joys turn to mold.
What do you mean?
Hi guys, the first palette that I have to show you guys is my Naked palette by Urban Decay. The packaging on this is so soft on the outside, I love it, but this is my favorite Naked palette hands down. The colors in this are nice and warm and bronzy and gold, and that's what I'm always drawn to when it comes to eyeshadow. I love this palette. The next palette that I have is my Naked 2 palette by Urban Decay. The packaging on this is nice as well. It has sort of a more secure closing and the packaging is tin. This has 12 eyeshadows, and all of the Naked palettes come with a brush, by the way. But this has more cool tone eyeshadows, more bronze, silvers, grays, things like that, and it's so nice and blendable. The Naked 3 by Urban Decay I have as well, but it's probably my least favorite of all of them. The colors are beautiful, nice mauves, browns, rose golds, dusty purples, and on my arm they look nice and pigmented, but on my eyes I just feel like something's lacking and they don't blend that well for me, and the colors just don't complement my skin tone that well. My newest addition to my Naked palette collection, and the final one that I needed to complete my collection, is the Urban Decay Naked Smoky. I just received this palette for Christmas of 2015. The packaging on this is so different, and I really love how they took the time to change it. It's so much sturdier, but it's nice and slim and sleek, and I love the smoky effect. And the colors on these are nice and blendable and beautiful, and just really cool tone and everything you could ever want for a smoky eye. My next palette that I own is the Urban Decay Naked Basics palette. I've had this thing for years. It was my baby for so long, my first high-end palette. I don't reach for it often now. I do find that it's a little chalky, and I only swatched 5 out of the 6 on accident, but you get the idea of what they look like. The Vice 4 palette I just received for Christmas of 2015 as well. I love the packaging on this. It's very abstract, and I love the black and the colors. This palette is kind of big. I love the mirror for traveling, and this has 20 eyeshadows. It has 5 shadows in each row, and it has 4 rows. It has a really nice mix of finishes from mattes, shimmers, metallics. Some colors are more pigmented than others, but it's a very nice palette for variety. It has some neutrals and some colors that I think that's just nice to have in your collection. This palette, the Too Faced Chocolate Bar, is my holy grail, hands down, most favorite palette of life. When you open it, it smells so good, but that's not why I like it. The colors in here are awesome. Too Faced shadows are my favorite eyeshadows. The whole package looks like chocolate. Just the colors are so warm. I just love it. The only ones that lack pigmentation are the more colorful ones, as you could see, like the blue one towards the right side, but other than that, they just cannot do me wrong at all. It's just, I love it. I can't rave about this palette enough. The next palette that I have is also a Too Faced chocolate bar, and this is the Chocolate Bonbons palette. I used to hate the packaging on this, like the color, but it's honestly growing on me. But the inside is so cute. They're all little hearts, and I love the colors. Again, Too Faced shadows never disappoint. I think these are really nice and pigmented. The shimmery shadows from Too Faced are some of my favorite. I really just overall think Too Faced as a brand is awesome. Their packaging is always cute, and this one smells like chocolate as well. The Too Faced Natural Matte is so adorable. I love this palette. The matte colors are so pigmented, and I just think it's a really nice palette for travel. It's nice and tiny and compact. The tin is really nice and sturdy, and it has a nice shades of color, and I like how they're laid out in like a more neutral look, and then if you want to go darker, I just think it's very beginners friendly. Another palette in my collection is my LORAC Pro palette. This thing is so beat up. It's so dirty on the outside and also on the inside, but this is my holy grail for so long. It has 8 amazing matte shades on the top and 8 shimmers on the bottom. The pigmentation of these palettes is just to die for. They're honestly so creamy and smooth and blendable, and the colors are gorgeous. It has a nice shade range just from warms, and I really just think overall that these palettes are beautiful. I also have the LORAC Pro 2 palette. This one has the same exact packaging and layout, except it's a light gray color. This one just has more cool tone, but again, it has the 8 mattes on the top, the 8 shimmers on the bottom. But I really like this as well. I reach for this a lot more in the spring and summer, and as you could see, they're very nice and pigmented. Some of them are a little bit powdery, a little chalky, but the shimmer shades especially are buttery and smooth and just amazing to work with. My LORAC Pro To Go palette I love as well. It has some basic eyeshadows. It has 3 shimmers and 3 mattes, just like the other ones, how they're laid out. And then it has 2 blushes and a bronzer. And I feel like this palette is really nice and basic, but I love the whole concept of it. It's really nice to travel with, and I just think the colors are beautiful. You could achieve many looks with just these 6 eyeshadows. I wore this on my Sweet 16, and it lasted all night, and I got so many compliments on my makeup, and I just think it has really every color that you would need for day-to-day looks. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Shadow Couture World Traveler palette. I talked about this palette in my yearly favorites of 2015, but it really was a favorite of mine, and it still is. I love the Anastasia Beverly Hills eyeshadows. I think this palette has awesome pigmentation and a variety of colors. I love playing with this. I love the blue in this palette. I love the warm colors, and overall this is definitely like my second favorite palette. The Maya Mia palette by Anastasia Beverly Hills I've had for a while, and I really love the packaging on this one. I think it's very fun and girly with all the different colors and the zebra. This has a few less eyeshadows than the Shadow Couture, but this is because it was just like a limited edition palette. And I mean, I don't think the pigmentation on this is as good, but caramel and sienna are some of my favorite colors, the warmer tones, but the more colorful colors are really lacking in this palette. The Tarlet in Bloom palette I think is the most beautiful palette that I own. I love the flowers on the front, and I love the gold packaging. This is another one of those palettes that I love to display, but even past the packaging, the colors and the pigmentation of these eyeshadows are gorgeous. I really love the mixtures of mattes and shimmers. I love the warm tones. The shimmery shades in here are very, very nice. And I just, oh my gosh, I just love the colors. I feel like I could look at the video of this swatch all day. Like, that's how much I love it. Then I have my Small Z palette. I have a mixture of Makeup Geek eyeshadows and MAC eyeshadows in here. I'm gonna tell you all the ones that I have. So for Makeup Geek, I have Peach Smoothie, Creme Brulee, Cocoa Bear, Bitten, and Prom Night. And then for MAC, I have Nylon, All That Glitters, Swiss Chocolate, and then I have Soft Brown. And these are the swatches of what those look like. I really like these. The Makeup Geek are awesome dupes for the MAC shadows, if not even better. I have these 4 little eyeshadow palettes from Sephora. I have Paris, New York, Rio, and Rome. I'm not exactly sure what these are called, but I think it was like a limited edition Christmas set. So this is Rome. Then I have Rio. It's nice and colorful. New York is my favorite. It has nice neutral colors. And then Paris is smoky dark colors. And these all come with a little blush as well. Now I have my Morphe palettes. This is the 35K, and this has 32 eyeshadows, and these are around 22 bucks each, so these are so worth it. I highly recommend these. This has shades ranging from warm to neutral to cool, so I love the variety of this palette. I didn't swatch all of them, but as you can see from the 8 that I did swatch, these are so buttery and pigmented, and I love these palettes. Again, these are so worth it. The last palette that I have to show you guys is the Morphe 35O palette. I just recently used this in a tutorial, so if you want to see this at work, you could go check that out. But this is filled with 35 warm, beautiful colors. Here are the swatches. They're so smooth and buttery, just like all the Morphe shadows.